Hello, America. Welcome to the Jay and Dre Show. I'm your host, Dre.
I'm your boy Jay, man. Got a great topic today. Black Panther.
Wakanda. Ever.
Forever, man. Forever. Sure, I'm about to book a ticket. So, just
Wakanda. I ain't coming back, bro.
sure, woman. Anyway, hey, general conversation, man, about Black Panther, our thoughts, and just how we viewed the movie. Dre, I'm gonna let you start it off.
Amazing movie. I think it's one of the best Marvel movies that they put out. It's just spectacular. And I can't lie, I was about to walk out. Cause I'm, for those who don't know, I read a lot of comic books. So a lot of these stories, a lot of these adaptations to movies, a lot of the characters, if I'm not having directly read their books, I'm very familiar with them. And I know what Wakanda is supposed to be, and I know what Black Panther is supposed to be. If you remember the opening, there's it's like a CNN report. Wakanda is one of the poorest nations on earth, and blah blah blah, and all this. And I'm like, hold up, they gonna show us a third world Wakanda. That's not what Wakanda is. So,
hang it up, hey.
Yeah, oh yeah, I was about. I went to go see the movie with a friend. I was standing up. I was about to say, yo, we gotta go right now. I don't care what's in the rest of the movie. But yeah, it was amazing though, man. I'm glad I didn't walk out. I'm gonna give you like another 30 seconds.
I know what the crazy thing about it is, I watched it today for the second time. I actually took my 6-year-old son, like for his birthday or whatever. I took him to the movies, and I enjoyed it more today than I did the first time. It's a very well written movie. It's a movie that you can see. I love it when nothing is clear cut. What I'm saying by that is Killmonger, right? He did some crazy, some bad things, but at the same time, you can kind of identify with his overall viewpoint. I think the visuals were dope. I especially think that the spiritual realm of it, because you know anything about East African culture, it's very spiritual. I can't think of what I want to use, but it's very spiritual in its thinking and in the way they progress and transgress. So it's like just that when he went to what they call it, the ancestral plane, the ancestral realm. I think the vision, that was dope. I think the fight scenes were dope. Sometimes when they was falling, you do too much CGI, it looks kind of crazy. I think that it still felt real. Like, it wasn't them doing it, but it didn't look too fake. Like, I always, the new Marvel movies coming over the summer, with Thanos. Like, he CGI, and it looks kind of crazy to me, just based off the previews. But overall, man, I give the movie, not being biased, I give the movie a strong 9.5 out of 10, man.
No.
Easy.
I definitely agree. There was a few minor changes that were done for the movie. Like, for instance, Killmonger in the comic books was, I want to say, like his cousin. Like a distant cousin instead of his, his first cousin. And there were a couple things, but pretty much for the most part, like as far as like relationships, like his sister was like his half sister in the comic books, but they just simplified a few things. I really like how it was done. I really like how it was written. Stayed true to the source material. They portrayed T'Challa, I felt, very, very superbly. And the thing about it with heroes can't excel on their own. You could have the best actor play the most interesting hero ever, but if the villain is flat, then the beat for the hero is going to be flat. The antagonist is the one that sets the story in progression. It literally is in the name, antagonist. So I thought it was just a amazing movie. For me, there's so much that I've discussed with friends, and there's so much you can even discuss with it. From Killmonger, his outlook, his morality, even if why Black Panther is different from a lot of superhero movies that's come before it. I mean, there's a lot of different ways you can go with this one.
Yeah, it dealt with a lot of real world concepts. But okay, so we both agree it was a great movie. But let's get to the meat of the conversation. I have three things. I'm gonna piggy the question to you.
Okay.
Number one, especially with Roy Moore in Alabama and just different things that are going on in society, there's this hashtag or there's this movement that's basically saying trust Black women. And I'm not saying that it's like trust Black women. Like basically like because our Black women voted in Alabama, they basically kept him from winning the election. Northern VA, I forgot how what's the percentage of Black women who voted, but just basically Black women have been doing incredible things in Americana as of late. So a lot of people feel that just watching the other podcasts that Black Panther was basically giving that same energy. Like trust Black Panther, basically what's the word guard? What were they named? Morai something? Mm-hmm. Basically they were Black women. Lupita's character, his sister. When it's all said and done, the Black woman in the video held him down. Do you think that was done on purpose?
No, that's for the comic books. Like real talk. Aside from some visual design changes, everybody was pretty much in character, 100% to a T. Like that was from the comic books. His sister is a freaking genius. And matter of fact, she takes over as Black Panther after he retires. Spoiler. But all of that was in it. Matter of fact, his wife is stronger than him. His wife is Storm. Storm is a mega level mutant, man. She can literally control the weather.
I don't know, man. I feel you. Well, see, I heard that, right? So now we get a different conversation. Why do you think she was in the video? I guess she ain't better yet?
Oh, no. Well, it gets a little complicated. But basically, Marvel was in some financial trouble in the 90s. So Spider-Man, X-Men, and Fantastic Four were bought by, the movie rights were bought by 20th Century Fox. So if you pay close attention, like you'll notice that aside from where Sony bought Spider-Man, I'm sorry, but you'll notice that the X-Men, matter of fact, the X-Men are always kind of like off in their own universe. Fantastic Four, same thing with Spider-Man for the most part. Sony's on better terms with Marvel than Fox is, so that's how comes Spider-Man was in Civil War that just passed. But basically, even if you pay attention to like the main Marvel movies, they can't even say mutants. They refer to them as Inhumans. The few times some of the characters are mentioned.
Okay, all right, that's cool.
It's all legalese.
So let me dive back into it. So going back, another point that they said that the movie did a great job of dealing with the effects of the transatlantic slave trade and diaspora from an African American point of view and from Native Africans. Do you think that the movie was purposely trying to deal with that? And if you do think, what do you think the message that was being sent was?
I don't think necessarily purposely was, but I do. I mean, I feel like you have to really understand your history. Because from the perspective of Killmonger, there are a lot of people who would ask themselves, we were robbed from these lands and taken. Mm-hmm. Why did nobody ever try to come get us? Why would we just discard it? And then, if you know what was going on, you would know that also, while there were people taken from the land and that endured slavery over here, they went through colonization, which basically they were, for all intents and purposes, really kind of enslaved on their own land. And the continent really was carved up. And basically the way that happened was gun technology really got revolutionized in Europe because there was guns before.
Race for Africa.
Yeah, for the most part, Europe, Africa, Asia was on relatively equal footing. And then, the Europeans finally found a way to China. They started slowly over the centuries improving on the gun until it got to a point where they really could wreak havoc and impose their military might on certain places. So even if certain places had the desire to reclaim some of their lost people, you have to really ask yourself, being that they were at a technological disadvantage.
How could they have?
Yeah, like, are you, you and your army can come and show up, but you you don't got the guns to deal with us.
And I think that's part of the reason that made some people so hard for some people to view Killmonger as a villain, because it's like, man, he's speaking thoughts that the majority of semi-conscious African Americans have thought. It's like, damn, bro, like, and I think that last line, everybody keeps harping on that last line, and I think it was purposeful, because it almost was like, yes, T'Challa, he got him, the real Black Panther symbol. He ended it with, bury me in the oceans with my ancestor who was smart enough to realize that it's better to die than to live in bondage. And that just was like, whoa. And really, that's the line that has been, to me, that's the line that set the tone for the afterthoughts of the movie. More people have been focusing on that line of Killmonger than T'Challa and Black Panther himself, if you ask me. Do you think that was purposefully put at the end of the movie?
No, well, first of all, the way Killmonger is written, he is a very sympathetic antagonist. He's not your stereotypical villain in that he has purely evil intentions, although I do feel he's severely misguided, both in universe and in real life respectively. Because it's a noble aim to want to rescue people that are downtrodden. But it wasn't simply a subversion of the societal schemes, but really subverting it and putting it on his head so that there's a new one, a new guy at the top dominating, and it being us. And that's the part I really disagree with, because from this perspective, I would rather destroy the cycle than continue it. Just me personally, because whenever you have a dominated and a dominator, there will always be resentment, there will always be strife, there will always be chaos. And at some point, if you truly desire peace, some things truly have to be abandoned and eliminated. And that's not saying everybody drop their guns, sing Kumbaya. It's just saying you have to equal the playing field, so to speak. In universe, where I feel he was really misguided is, and the thing that I kind of feel gets lost on a lot of folks, the Wakandan vibranium technology in universe is top tier, is some of the best stuff you can get your hands on. However, you have to ask yourself, do these weapons make a person wielding them invincible? And being that we saw the big battle at the end, answer is obviously no. But then again, you also have to keep in mind, who else is there out there? I mean, you have Hank Pym, you have Tony Stark, you have Mr. Fantastic, you have some guys in the Marvel universe that's not even taken into account like godly beings such as Thor, who just are advanced and godly on a whole other level.
You don't want Wakanda, man. I don't care about no Asgard.
Nah, like real talk.
Nah, I'm just messing with you.
Like real talk. Like, there's a lot of foes who their technology is not quite on that level, but they have some really advanced tech that can do damage and can really dent their effort, if not halt it altogether. And I feel that's the one thing that really is overlooked, and I feel that Killmonger is a better soldier than he is a general because of it. Because generals don't fight battles unless they know they can win.
All right, Sun Tzu. But
you should have read the Art of War.
And you kind of got more of the actual comic side of it. I was speaking more in general terms of just everyday life, and I really do feel like they sat down, man, and dealt with some issues that we actually felt that we're actually dealing with, that is coming to the forefront. To me, it's a conscious movement going on in America amongst Black African Americans. that I felt like the wig part, to me, that was purposeful. That's just not a cutesy laugh.
You talking about wig?
When she had a wig on her head, she said this discussion, she tore it off and throw it.
Oh.
If you know anything about what's going on, the natural hair movement is taking over all over America. My wife just went to have a locks in her hair. That's very much a movement that's going on. And I feel what you're saying about how the comic books are written, but to me, man, it's an in there to give black women that salute. But I want to get to this part too. I'm just coming. And now, so once again, now I'm scouring the webs and I'm looking up different things about Black Panther. And everybody has a thesis or an opinion on some hidden meaning in the agenda. And as you know, another movement that's going on right now in America is the Hebrew Israelite movement. For people who don't know, it's based off of Deuteronomy 28:68, when God said, basically, I've seen Egypt again on ships. And the Hebrew Israelites look at this scripture as basically a prophecy that was fulfilled, basically describing African Americans as the true Hebrew Israelites, or the true Israelites. So a lot of people were saying that this movie is basically a wink at that fact. Now, two Jewish guys design a character, right? Stanley, I've got the other guy name. But if you look at a couple things, one of the things Hebrew Israelites always like to say is, "Who are you? You know who you are. Who are you?" That was probably in the movie. That was, matter of fact, the movie ended on that note. And before Killmonger could proclaim his right to the throne, he kept asking, "Ask me who I am." It's like basically Killmonger was a power because he knew who he was, which separates him from the average African American, which is a Hebrew Israelite belief that they're different than African American because they know who they are. Two, when Killmonger went to the ancestral plane, if you look at when he opened the book, you had ancient Hebrew. Just different things like that is leading some people to believe that this was a wink to, hey man, it's a new consciousness going on that African Americans might be the true descendants of Israel. You need to wake up to that fact. Do you think that this is possible? Do you think that this was intended? I'm not asking, do you think that black people are? I'm just asking, do you think that this might have been placed in the movie? And I know Kendrick Lamar too. Kendrick Lamar is a proclaimed Hebrew Israelite, and he basically, the whole soundtrack is basically him. So, I mean, what's your thoughts on that?
I have to see the text in particular. I have to see these things that these people are pointing out. But I mean, you know, when you have people that create works, a lot of times their beliefs seep into their work, and they find creative ways to put their beliefs in their work. So it's definitely, what's the director's name? Kubrick.
Yeah, we got
it. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry, brother. I'm butchering your name, Kubrick. But I'm not sure, you know, if he just ascribes to those sets of beliefs or not. But you know, if he does, I'm quite sure he can find some creative way to put it in there. Just like they tied Oakland in there. I know the dudes from Oakland. You know,
well, that's where the Black Panther Party started at.
Yeah, it's also where the Black Panther Party started at, but you know, dudes from Cali as well. You know, if you read the comic books, we don't got much to do with Oakland at all. But you know, I thought it was really, really neat though. You know what I'm saying? And it was in one of those things, nod to home, nod to the past, nod to history.
Real black.
And you know, and it was in a way that was very, very tastefully done. It wasn't something that's out the way, like, oh, they just sidetracked for like 10 minutes to do something. You know, very, very well written.
Very well written. And to me, to kind of wrap it up, that's actually the signature of a great piece of art. I'm not going to say movie, I'm going to say a great piece of art. When so many people can get so many, man, the movie's so great, you got the art right saying they love Black Panther too. Because they saying T'Challa and them,
please stop.
This is real talk. This is real.
T'Challa's not trouble.
Listen, man, they said the alt-right people are saying T'Challa was anti-immigration. He was pro, whatever, race ethos, we didn't keep my race by themselves, whatever. They said it was a separatist. He was a desegregationist, segregationist. They said, man, T'Challa, they got him. They say we need to go see the movie in droves. They say he's an alt-right hero. That's serious, man. We live in a day and age with alt-right. That's it. That's it. Black Panther is an alt-right hero. Hey, man, what you think about that, man? I mean,
first of all, those people are idiots.
That's the signature. Hey.
Second of all, they fail to understand the character, the setting, and the universe. The reason why Wakanda is very isolationist is because, for one, they have a very precious resource that everybody wants, which makes them a target. But two, they have developed this society, not oblivious to the outside world, but taking in from the outside world what they can and developing on their own. And they know what's out there. They know that there's like the sub-villain, Ulysses S. Clark, the white guy with the rubber arm. Like, there are people that want to take everything that they have. And one of the things when you're a small people is you don't typically have the manpower to kick somebody out once you let them in. So, I mean, to me, it makes perfect sense that they would be very isolationist and very wary of the people who come in the country, and that they wouldn't let a lot of people in mass, simply because there's too much value there, and there's too much that can be done with the advances that they have made if it fell into the wrong hands. As a matter of fact, if you also know your Marvel comics, you know that while T'Challa doesn't necessarily have any beef with Tony Stark, he won't give him any vibranium because he doesn't trust him, because he is a former weapons dealer and he's seen the weapons that he's made before and how destructive they were. So he inherently is wary of outsiders.
All right, so they wary of outsiders too, man. They won't give them back across that border, man.
I mean, a nation of maybe a mil and a nation of 300 mil is two different things when you're talking immigration.
Nah, man, it's all jokes and laughs, man. But hey, like I said, man, that's the point of a great movie, man. Different, you could look at different aspects, different beliefs. You can go anywhere with it, really.
I would agree. I've seen it twice. I'm probably gonna go see it again. And when the $2 theater comes, I'm probably gonna spend like $10 sitting there all day.
God dang. What kind of for real, brother?
Hey, bro. Hey, look, man.
The shorties were bad. Lord have mercy.
Hey, look, bro.
Hey, who's the best looking in? I'm sorry, man. We got it. Who's the best looking woman in Black Panther, man? The people want to know, man.
Oh, hold on, please.
I'm just going to throw it out there, man. I ain't knew Peter had it like that, man. Hey, man, she had on the green skin type, man.
Nah, man, old girl.
Peter was bringing it, bro.
His bodyguard, man.
She was bad too.
Nah, I would say this. 'Cause I went to go see the movie with a friend from class. This back when we couldn't get no tickets from Black Panther, we had to buy tickets like a day in advance. She was a Delta, and one thing I kind of noticed, I feel like there was Greek fraternity and sororities represented all throughout the movie.
Oh, hey, man.
Hey, is it just me?
It's very possible, man.
Because I really feel like old boy with Jabari were like the biggest. I feel like the girls were the
These are Vegas.
Oh, yeah.
He was 8 calling, man.
Nah, man.
8 calling.
8. When last you heard an 8 bark like a dog, man?
Nah, man. She was 8 calling, man.
No, first of all, the king was T'Challa's the king, man. He's alpha. He's alpha, man. Chadwick Boseman's alpha.
I got you, but Jabari child, they weren't 8 calling though. The whole thing was 8. But I feel a lot of people.
They was barking, man.
Nah, it's 8 calling.
They was barking, bro.
The Qs, I don't know what they was doing. They was only hopping, man. They was the bush hopping. We get.
It made perfect sense to me because, like, you know, when you play with the stereotypes, I'm like, yeah.
So who's that older?
Who? Let me stop.
He's so in the background.
I was like, yo, it made perfect sense. I was like, yeah.
He was on the border.
I was like, yo, the red's fiery. That's why they're bodyguards. You know, the K's, they pretty, but they nice with it. That's how come they the spies. The uppity Sigma, though. Uppity Sigma.
Yeah, he goes to the trailer. Just like they betrayed Alpha, but we ain't gonna talk about that.
Hey.
We gonna talk about how they stole the shield. Anyway, we get all. Oh man,
I knew it wasn't me. I knew it wasn't just me.
Uppity Sigma. Hey, I'm your boy Jay.
I'm your boy Dre.
Tell me pretty lies, look me in the face. Tell me that you love